Okay, so I have an idea. What I'm going to do is create two kind of similar color palettes on each of the sides, and then I will audition some blues and turquoises on one side and then some greens on the other, and see which I like more, because at the minute I just cannot decide what colors to go for. One part of me totally wants to go for the turquoises and the other part wants to go for the greens. With the turquoises I find it will be more uplifting and fresher palette, but with the greens I find that it obviously lends better into the botanical aspect of the painting. So yeah, it will be more abstract with the turquoises, and then, you know, I won't be able to, although I could, I mean, who says you can't? You can do everything you want. I could potentially create some botanical shapes, like leaf shapes with turquoises. So anyways, that's what I will try to do, and hopefully just these two small paintings will help me help to guide me towards the right color palette to do that with. I decided to pick out colors similar to what I have on the canvas, on the big canvas behind me, because these will dry a lot faster than if I just used the oil sticks. I would have to, it would set me back another 2 days. So I just yeah, it takes ages to dry. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create these kind of color palettes on both of these pages. Probably need something flatter for this one. So it's just the color that we're looking here for. It's not really, you know, I'm not imitating the painting behind me, but I do want to have a similar color palette and see where it takes us. Even just blending them on paper as well. Quite like that blended color or mixed in color. Okay, and then a bit of the, so what did we have? We had pale peach and we had raw sienna, both Holbein Gouache Acryla, and then this one has separated a bit. So this one is the Winsor Newton Designer Gouache in gold ochre. And then I thought I'll introduce some burnt sienna. This is going to be now acrylic ink. And then a little bit of it here somewhere too. Okay. And then I had this really dark burgundy color on the canvas, and the only color I could think of similar to that I could quickly grab is this watercolor by Ecoline, and it's called Mahogany. So my brush has loads of yellow on this. I'm just going to do a bit of this. So I quite like it in its darkest, and that's what I will do. Just add a little sprinkle. Now this color is not permanent, so if I wanted to layer something over it, there's danger that it could lift. And yeah, so I will leave it at that. I will let it dry, and in fact I need to mess it up a little bit. Just going to grab my catalyst and just kind of have less perfection here. I just want it a bit more abstract. Just pull it through like that. So we're catching some colors and sort of blending them a little bit, and it looks a bit less static. At the end of the day, it's just a color palette, so that's where I want it to head, like that. Okay, I might add a little bit of the lighter color on top because we sort of completely have taken it off now, and that's fine. I'm just going to add it just on top in some areas, like that. I'll try to avoid mixing it in too much with the other colors, but we definitely want to lighten up this color palette because I feel like I want more of this lighter color in my painting. And then I will go ahead and darken up the burgundy areas again. This paper doesn't take too much of water, so I will try to dry it now. Okay, so I think I'm going to lift some of this burgundy from some areas just because I don't want it to impact the paper too much. Okay, looking at my canvas just briefly now, I realized there's also a bit of yellow in there, which I might just use in the nickel azer yellow. And let's see, I'm just going to add a bit of it in some areas just to give that kind of lift. I haven't decided if I like this yellow in my painting, so I may, if I don't like too much of it, just take some out. So it's all still work in progress, really. Okay. Right. So that was the last bit of thing that I needed to add to it. I don't have it that yellow, to be honest, in my work. Okay, so now I need to let it dry naturally so the pages don't curl up too much. And basically the next thing will be auditioning turquoise or green. I have changed the water because it had too much white in there. So it's becoming a bit too milky. And now I will try to mix a green. So I think I'll do a green here, and then I'll leave this one for the turquoise. So to mix my green, I have a dark green. I have burnt sienna and Payne's grey. And let's see what we can get here. So this green on its own, it's quite, you know, extreme. So I'll just try to mellow it down slightly and see how things go. So it's already a lovely neutralized green, but I do want a bit of darker tone, so I'm just going to add a touch of Payne's grey. There we go. Now it's a gorgeous forest deep green, and maybe even a touch more. That's it. Okay, lovely. So I will start just by kind of creating botanical leaf shapes across, like that. Just for color palette, I'm not aiming for perfection here or anything like that. Just want to see how the color would be. And also, instead of just doing blobs of swatches, you know, I'm going for something that potentially would end up on my painting. But here's the thing, it looks so lovely with the dark green. I find that it's more of a grown-up palette. And as soon as you add turquoise, it just, you'll see, it will be more of a kind of fresher, like I said, springier, you know, younger palette. It's a color that makes me feel really happy. It's uplifting, the turquoise that is. So, but this one is just lovely. It is a nice color, so I quite like that. And obviously, like I said, the yellow is a bit too much. It's not like that in my painting. There's just some elements of yellow tone, but it's more of a, how shall I say, like a white based yellow tone. So not too much of yellow there. Okay, I think I get the idea here. So that looks lovely. I actually quite like it. Okay, let me take care of this residual color so it doesn't dry on me, and I'll get the turquoise ready. Okay, so turquoise, I think I could actually mix it myself. So I have a marine blue and I have a white. I might need to add a bit of this dark green into it, we'll see. This is the only bottle that I have with the broken glass pipette, and it's really quite off-putting because it has such sharp end, and I would imagine that the bits of broken glass would be inside the bottle. So I'll just need to replace that one, I think. Okay, well, let's see what happens here. So I'll just add a little bit of green to it, just the tiniest amount, see what happens. Yes, that's a gorgeous turquoise. Kind of feel like it even on the camera it's showing up more as as a lighter color, so I will add, oop, not sure what that is. I think it was some dried up acrylic in there. Okay, so this is more like it. Okay, I'll add a bit of water just to make it watery. And let's see. So I'll do the same. Maybe I'll do it up here. Oop. I'll do it the other direction. Oh my gosh, I mean, I still can't decide. Look at that. This color is like, it just makes me happy. Like one side of me tells me this is the right color to use, but then I feel so in love with this. And obviously I have to think about it because it will be hanging. Have actually set where this painting is going to be. So, you know, in one of my videos where I was making the latte and then sitting down in the playroom downstairs. So that there is a wall there on the side of the sofa where there is an empty IKEA frame hanging, and it's been hanging there for a good, I want to say, like, gosh, I picked that frame up, or maybe I got it delivered before the pandemic, I believe, or maybe during, so either 2019 or 2020, which means that it's been hanging there empty for like 2 years now. And I haven't been inspired until now to paint something. So I am already making progress, which is fantastic. But this is where it's going. And so I want it to be just right. And things like that take forever for me to decide. Color palette, theme, you know, what I wanted on it. I did kind of, I did want something botanical there because I do like that theme. And I do like the abstract as well. But yeah, I just feel like this looks a bit too muted, but it's more sophisticated. It's a funny one. Okay, anyway, hopefully I'll give myself a few days to decide, see how I feel about it, but I love the color combination. Okay, so let me have a look how the other leaves have dried on the green page, and then we'll come back to that. This page has now dried, so I just wanted to show you how it layers and how it dries over the oil sticks. So here we have watercolor, 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 and then we have the acrylic inks, and you can see next to each other they look like watercolor. You wouldn't be able to really tell them that much apart. So you do have that benefit of watercolor effect with, you know, obviously being more permanent and layerable. So with watercolor we realized unless it was metallic, even then it wasn't perfect, but at least we had some sort of you know, result. But with just regular watercolor it just wouldn't layer over the oil sticks. So I want to give you a nice close-up so you can have a good look. And for instance here you can see the broken up lines, but we did get the watercolor to sort of dry over it, and you know, it dried nicely, so it's not going anywhere once it dried. So I liked it over blue because it's popping so much. It looks gorgeous. And yeah, so it also will depend on the texture. So here I have the Shivas, which are altogether matte. I decided not to use them in my painting, so I didn't work over them, but it could be a totally different effect over them with watercolors or acrylic inks. And then here I just love layering over and seeing both paints. I love seeing kind of the change slightly. You know, when you take a translucent piece of something like plastic and it's very thin, and then you layer it over a color and it changes the color. So here's exactly that. So the color is changed slightly, but we can see both, and I just think it's just such a fantastic effect, which I also love this color palette in particular, and obviously it's nothing like that on my canvas, but I may consider it for something else in the future for sure. I just love it. I love it. Yeah, so this was a really kind of interesting exercise to do. And sometimes even if you would have done something similar beforehand, still try it with those particular colors or those particular art supplies and colors within those art supplies that you may be using in your watercolor, because it will get a totally different effect. So I obviously don't have here the lighter colors of the oil sticks, but I learned something that I will definitely be using in like a future project. And then I just want to grab this smaller piece here, which I tried to create a similar color palette to what we already have on the canvas. Oh goodness, let me know down below, which do you prefer, the dark green for the botanical or the turquoise, because I definitely want to have some botanical aspect in there for sure. It obviously looks more kind of natural in this color, and then this one is more of a contemporary take, which there's nothing wrong with it, but you know, I can't decide still. I have to let it marinate. So yeah, I just need to wait a little bit to make that decision and go for it in the end. It'll be a spontaneous kind of let's just do it situation. Okay, I hope you enjoy this video, and it's been a slow process with the painting, but I totally don't want to rush it. And having had firstly my son had the flu, and then I got the flu, so it's been, you know, I had a few setbacks but I think it's better to take it slow than rushing into things, because at the end of the day it's kind of enjoyable, because I'm extending that. I'm not just going to the canvas and sort of rushing to finish the painting, but I'm also taking my time outside of it and kind of working towards it. So this is all investing the time and the energy into the finished work that we will have. So yeah, I hope you found it helpful and inspiring, and thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.